Okay, Matteo here again. Last time we finished this small early game iron farm, and it's completely functional. I think it's been producing a few ingots, so let's go check really quickly if it has. I've been here for about, oh yes, it's actually quite productive, so it'll serve us well. So, in this episode, I would love to finish, to start building and hopefully finish the initial house. Okay, the initial house that we've been building for 6 episodes now. I need to speed things up. So, in this episode, I believe with the early game iron farm, we have enough resources, at least accessible. If not, I'm just gonna go grab the rest and build the house. I need to craft lots of pistons, sticky pistons to be precise, observers. What else? A bit of redstone. I think I have enough redstone for that. I also need quartz, a little bit of it, a little bit of quartz. I have quartz as well. Those are the materials I need. So let's get started. So I thought that it might be important to mention this before we start. Um, so kind of like the plan. So the initial house, it's basically a small circle and it's gonna have pistons down here and pistons up here. It's just gonna be 2 blocks tall because we want to control the house. We want to kind of be able to open and close the entire house, and that's basically what the house door is going to be. So our way in and our way out, it's going to be controlled by a few node blocks that I'm going to place in a moment. These node blocks are going to control the whole system. It's a little hard to explain, but the idea is that we surround the perimeter with pistons, sticky pistons down here, and another line of sticky pistons up here, facing downwards. So that way when, yep. Is that right? So this is the opening sequence, and when they close, well, they'll basically look like this. We'll use different blocks, of course. The system that the house, or that this initial house is going to have, it's basically that we're going to open and close the entire house, the entire perimeter. We're not going to have doors of any kind. The doors basically going to be that the house opens itself up entirely, and I can access it from any point. And the only problem we have with that, we'll illuminate these small area here properly, and we'll have to capture, we'll have to domesticate some cats and put them around here so that the creepers stay outside, and I don't want to find creepers inside my house. It's going to be opening and closing on its own because we're going to use some daylight detectors in a similar way. We're going to use them in a similar way. It's actually the exact same circuit that we used for the iron golem farm, so that the house closes and opens with the day-night cycle. Day-night cycle is going to be controlled by these daylight detectors, and they're going to control these pistons. They're going to open. They are going to open and close the house according to the time of day. And I'm also going to put some manual controls, and in the form of node blocks, because I think it's more comfortable. So we're going to do all that. Okay, we've placed all the sticky pistons that we're going to use for this small project. I forgot to mention something, and this is the initial house, but we'll be using this small house, let's say, as the beginning of a bigger structure. Okay, we're going to be building. So this is going to be like the entry for the future, for the future house. The future house that we're going to have, a bigger house with better things, better looks, better everything. So this is going to be like the lobby of that structure, like the entry. But for now, until we build all those things, until we expand the structure and add new things to it as we move forward in the gameplay, we'll be using this as the initial house. So this is just going to be the initial house. It's going to be 2 blocks tall, and it's not going to be bigger than this for now. We're going to distribute this chest in a different way on the inside. We're going to remove these crops, of course. We're not going to have that there. We're going to have something else. And well, now that we have these guys, I think we're going to use maybe 2 of them too, so that they organize our inventory, at least until we are in need of building a storage system. The chest distribution is going to change, and those furnaces and those things, they're not going to be there. So it's going to look different once it's done. The cow farm and the chicken farm, we're going to have to move it. So moving all these cows is going to be a little annoying. I think I have a bit of a plan to do that, but I'm not so sure. So we'll leave that for the last part. These chickens are not a big problem because it's there's only 2 of them. Now we want to do the wiring of those pistons. So the circuit's going to be the same connection wise for the upper pistons than for the lower pistons. So since for the lower pistons we have to do some digging below this, we're going to build the upper pistons first and maybe kind of demonstrate what the connection is going to be like. I designed this so that it has a cool opening and closing sequence, and for that I use lots of observers. Okay, so I committed a small mistake. These 2 pistons, okay, they aren't going to go, they don't go there basically. And on this side they get removed as well, because we're going to use these 2 blocks as the column to both connect the upper pistons to the lower pistons, and also it's where we're going to place our control, our node block. You'll see what I mean in a moment. We want the input for activating and deactivating the pistons to be a node block. To be precise, from the outside we're going to have 2 node blocks. One's going to be here, the other one's going to be here. This node block is going to control half of these pistons, half of the walls of the house, okay, and the other node block is going to control the other half. So we're going to have 2 controls, 2 independent controls, manual controls, because remember, the house is going to open and close itself on its own with the daylight detectors, and the small redstone circuit we built for the iron farm is going to be the same. It's basically the same. This is going to be one of the manual inputs. We're going to have more, but we'll start with these because it's easier to explain. I'm going to try to explain these as best as I can. It's going to be a little complicated, I think, to explain, but it's really not complicated. I'm just overcomplicating the explanation in my head and maybe making it worse than it needs to be. So anytime I click on the node block, I want the pistons to activate. To do that, I'm going to combine that node block with observers. We're going to wire the whole thing up with observer blocks. This one, will have to be the input for both pistons, meaning for both pistons, the ones at the bottom and the ones at the top. To do that, we have to wire the observers carefully. So this observer with its output facing down here, and another observer and another observer, it's going to go there. This is the line that's going to be connected to the circuit that we're going to build for the lower pistons. Let's say we'll build that later, but that's why these observers have to face, the output of these observers has to face down. And on the other side we need to put the observer blocks like this, with the output facing upwards, because this one, or this output, we want this output to control the circuit that we're going to build up here for these pistons. We are going to wire all this with observer blocks, and that's why it is very expensive, because these guys are really expensive at this point of the game that we're at. So we need to use them to wire the pistons, because they make the connection really easy, compact, and really easy, and also because if we do it like this, we get a nice opening and closing sequence, which is what I want. So we have to connect the output of the observers looking or facing to the pistons to the output of these observers. So that means every time these observers, the ones I'm placing here, as you can hear, the pistons are retracting, extending and retracting, because every time the observers detect an update, they're gonna make the piston activate or deactivate, right? Extend and retract. To do that, we're gonna control, or we're gonna do some strange wiring, let's say. I don't know how strange it is. It's not too common, maybe, because it's expensive, but I really like it, and we're gonna use it for this. So if we put observers like this, we can kind of use the observers to create kind of a sequence of reaction, so that this observer detects this one that's being activated, and that's an update, so it sends a pulse and activates the piston. This one passes the update to this one, and this one has another observer right here, and that'll activate the next piston. And the idea is that that logic follows all along the perimeter. It's a little tricky on the corners. Maybe I'll just get it all done and try to explain it when it is all built. But this is the basic idea. We'll basically wire all these pistons with the output of observer blocks, create a chain of observers to connect those observers, and that'll give us a nice and quick opening and closing sequence. And we'll also make the connection very compact, and we won't have to deal with redstone dust, torches, or anything else really. We'll just place observers, and that will also work as some part of the ceiling, I could say. Let me remove all this so that you see more or less what's gonna happen before it's completely done, I guess. So basically, I click this node block. It's not gonna, well, I click the node block, and all the pistons extend, and they put the blocks like this. That'll close the house, and I click the node block, and it's gonna open the house as well. I actually found these, I like using these node blocks a little more than buttons or pressure plates or any other method. Buttons, well, pressure plates, I don't like them because mobs can step on top of them and control the mechanism as well as I do it. Buttons are good, but that means I'm the only one who can interact with them. But their hitbox, it's a little small, so it's a little like I have to concentrate, kind of make a extra effort to hit the button on the block. Whereas the node block is a full block, so it's a little easier, just like right clicking, and yeah, it's kind of more comfortable, and it makes a nice sound actually, so it's attractive. Okay, it seems like we have it all nicely wired, well, at least the basics. So basically, if we right click on this, we'll see the whole activation sequence on both sides in here. Yes, and apparently it's working. I'll have to remove all that to see clearly, but well, I think everything is wired correctly. And that one, does these have? It looks alright. Okay, it looks fine. So that's basically going to be the what we're going to use, okay, to get in and out of the house manually, because it's gonna have these daylight detectors, remember, so it's gonna be opened most of the time. We are going to build the upper part, the roof first. well, the roofed daylight detector first. We're going to position that first because it's a little easier, and it will allow us to explain what the lower ones are going to do. It's the same thing basically. So for that we need to decide, for comfort reasons, which roof we are going to use. So I'm not so sure about which block I want to use for this, but I'm thinking of iron as a good option because that thing's producing a lot more than I was anticipating, and well, it's a block that we have. If iron blocks are going to be easy to we're going to have access to we are going to have easy access to iron blocks now with this small farm, because it's running a lot faster than I anticipated. So maybe I'm gonna use iron blocks. I'm not so sure about what I'm saying, not yet, but well, look at all the iron we have. So let's see how many blocks we can make out of this. I think a stack or something like that. It shouldn't take too long to generate more. Let's go to bed. Okay, so let's see how many iron blocks we can get out of this. Oh, thank goodness it stopped raining. You know, I was a little fatigued of the rain and the dark weather. It's good to see the sun coming out and a beautiful Minecraft day to come. Okay, so the roof. In these things, this is part of the aesthetics, okay? I'm not so sure about what I'm going to do with it. Not yet. Not for now. Some of these blocks are going to be replaced by glass, transparent blocks, and some others are going to be replaced by glowstone. So I'm just going to fill the entire thing with iron just for now, and we'll be doing the modifications as we move forward. I'm going to put the whole roof, I'm going to build it with iron blocks, and I'm going to put the first daylight detector and the first circuit and connect it to the whole thing. And then I think we'll build the lower one, and the last thing we'll do is make the modifications that we need to make in the roof so that we have enough illumination and daylight inside of the house. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. So I'm going to put the roof and see you in a moment, I guess. Okay, we have I have placed some iron blocks, the ones that I had. I don't have as much as I thought, so we have to wait for the farm to produce more, but it's fine, it'll do it. One small modification that we're going to make to this, I'm not going to use so many observer blocks in here. What we're going to do instead, so this little pattern that I built right here was basically to power these two pistons of the middle without them interfering with one another. So we can accomplish this, and also I did it like this so that it followed kind of the opening and closing nice sequence, but it doesn't change a lot if we use the copper bulbs here. So remove these observers and these two observers like this and these two observers like that. That'll leave us with these two pistons. The ones in the middle won't activate because there's nothing connected to them, but now there is. Those two copper bulbs will do the job. Okay, now that I have placed those copper bulbs, let's finally put the daylight detector that's gonna go up here for these. This daylight detector, the one that we're gonna put up here, it's gonna go around, I don't know, could be really anywhere, but around, I'd like to put things kind of in the middle to have a little bit of symmetry. So we're gonna have the daylight detector right there. In here we're gonna make a hopper that I have not crafted, so let me craft it really quickly. Okay, hopper is gonna go here, and yeah, well, this is what we're gonna use to run the comparison that we explained. The same thing that we used for the Iron Golem farm, same amount of items in the hopper, and this is gonna be the output. So we want to take the output from redstone torches like this. So this one's gonna be connected to this node block. I think. And this one's going to be connected to the other node block. I'm not so sure. Okay, let's do the same. So yeah, this is basically going to activate and deactivate once we put the items in the hopper. It's going to activate and deactivate the upper pistons, the whole thing. Now let's actually place the lower daylight detectors and make the connections. And there's another connection that we have to make, but first let's make the daylight detectors that are going to control the lower part of this. Okay, I think I'm ready to put these connections. So I made a little bit of room and I put the daylight detectors that are going to control the lower pistons, let's say the lower part of the wool, the lower half of the wool. And for these we're going to use two. We can use only one, but I just did it like this and I like it. So yeah, this is basically going to control this half, and that's basically going to control that half, but they're going to activate at the same time because they're using the same input, which is daylight. Okay, I changed my mind about these daylight detectors. They aren't going to go there, they're going to go here. Okay, and the two daylight detectors, very easy, very easy. We're going to use smooth stone blocks to put their circuit that corresponds to them. So now what you need to do is something similar to what we did with the upper ones. We want the output to be with a redstone torch for each. And I have them right here. Exactly. So this is going to be the output for that one. This is going to be the output for that one. And what we have to do is take this redstone line basically and connect it to our line of observers that's going to send the signal. Wait a second, give me a moment. I think I can remove. No, I can't do that. I removed the wrong one. How was this positioned? Like this. Yeah, there you go. This is the one I think I'm removing. Yes. So you remove that observer basically to connect the redstone line right there, and this update will basically replace the effect. That is everything we need for the lower half of the wool, I suppose. There's an extra connection that I want to make. For that I have to place the floor, or maybe no, I don't have to put the whole floor. Just with the floor level reference, which is this one, we can go right here to the middle and simulate that we have a floor. Okay, at this height we're gonna have the floor at this height, and well, basically one of these blocks is going to be replaced by a node block. So that node block is basically going to have the function of controlling the whole opening and closing sequence of the house, both lower half and upper half. So the house is basically going to close and open with that single control. That's the manual control to open and close the house from the inside. Entirely, okay, because this is controlling everything. This node block, that one's controlling this half, this one's controlling this half. The daylight detectors are controlling everything once I put the items in the hoppers, remember that. But this one's going to control everything because I want some sort of control inside of the house to close the entire thing, or to action the entire array of pistons. And that really, those controls that I placed and the ones at the top, they really give me a lot of control over the opening, or how open or how closed it's the house, and I can really manipulate almost everything I need to manipulate, and it's going to be enjoyable. I think it's going to be enjoyable. We have to connect this to everything, so this input has to be connected to everything. Okay, I think I've made all the connections that I wanted to make. So the only reference I have to test it right now, because I haven't attached any pistons to any blocks to the pistons. It's basically with the copper bulbs. So all copper bulbs are off right now. Those two, these two, and these two. So as soon as I click this note block, if all the copper bulbs turn themselves on and off with each update, then that's a good sign that everything is correctly connected. Let's just test this thing and see how it works. Okay, that's a good sign. They are all on. And if I do it again, they are all off. Okay, wonderful. It seems like it is working perfectly. So it's literally the whole, well, there's a missing part for this. And let's actually do it right now. It's basically putting the correct amount of items in these hoppers, so the automatic system works for closing and opening the house, closing it during the night, opening all up during the day. Okay, so it's going to be 2 non-stackable items of any kind that you don't use, and 10 of any other type of item for each comparator. So the next step is to put the floor, finish the roof, illumination, and then we'll start working on, to put the floor, actually we have to organize this mess of chests that we have in here. So we're gonna make a distribution that's more or less convenient. Let's start building the decoration of these things. The first step to do that, it's going to be to organize those chests. So I'm going to accommodate them in the way that I think they're going to be. And I'm going to try to design the things so that they cope well with these little guys, with the copper golems here. I am going to try that, and well, see you in a moment, I guess. Okay, I have placed everything I think that was necessary, required, or desired by myself for the initial house. So let's make a small test. This control it's supposed to open the whole house. Let's see. And it does. Apparently everything's working correctly. So that's nice. And this should close it all. Wonderful. So that's one control working. The second control, the other controls, this one's supposed, this one up here, it's supposed to open only the glass part of half of the house. Wonderful. It's apparently working. And this one right here is supposed to open the other half. Amazing. So this is basically, I might use it, I don't know, I see mobs in there, I want to attack them, so this will allow me to attack them as soon as I have more arrows and more ranged weapons to have fun doing that. Or just to get some fresh air for the house. Am I right? So if we click it, it should close half of the house, and if we click this note block here, it should close half of the house as well. This one and that one should open half of the house, both windows and the lower part of the wall, and it's apparently working. Okay, you see that what happened in there is that the daylight cycle just changed and updated the daylight detectors, so the system updates in the position that it was at. So that's interesting, because we can kind of play with these controls, and it's quite versatile. We can open half of the house, just the windows, the whole thing, close the whole thing, and this note blocks, these controls that I placed, gives us a lot of versatility, a lot of possibilities to do that. And yeah, well, that's basically what's going to happen. So if I click that one, half the house should close. Let's check one more time. Half of it opens, half of it closes, and the control one right here, the middle one right here, should open the whole thing up. So that's good. Okay, so I have an idea for for a solution for the exterior. I think I have the materials to do it, so we're just gonna try a couple of blocks and see how it goes. We are also going to change these fences for shelves. that has been added with the copper golems in the Copper Age update, so I think we're going to use them. They look quite good and they'll be useful to show us a clearer guide of the storage. Okay, it seems like I placed all the blocks that I wanted to. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look of how that looks like. So this is how the house is gonna look like from a distance. I like these deep slate tiles a lot, and if it's closed for any reason, let's see if I can do it fast enough. No, I can't. Okay, I just have to control it from here. So yeah, let's close it all, and let's see how it looks from a distance. Don't have very good angles to look from. So it actually looks quite nice. I like it, yes, I like it. This is gonna be like the beginning of a bigger structure, I suppose, but it's gonna be functional. It kind of looks like a bunker, like a fortress, like a mini fortress. And since I'm not going to be illuminating all these area and all the things, I suppose the fact or the way we designed it, it's gonna help us deal with all the mobs, and we're gonna have fun using it. Let's make a few shelves. This has been added with the copper update. You make them like this with any kind of strip wood, you get 6. Okay, we've placed all the shelves, I think, in a correct way, at least for now, so that'll keep the guys in there, and they look prettier. We used oak shelves because it's an easy wood that we have access to right now. So these things are actually quite interesting. They can interact with redstone in a few ways, but the application that we'll be using them for in here, you can put things on them, items. So you can put the whole stack of stack in there, and non-stackable items too. You can put up to 3 on each one. And if you make them interact with redstone, as far as I understand, if you power them somehow, you see the textures that they have get kind of removed. And if I click this one, I'm gonna get all the items. Oh, all the items. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, of course, it switches my inventory, so I have the redstone blocks, now I don't. And it seems like it prioritizes from this slot to the others. Okay, well, interesting. If you remove the redstone power, you see that you get back to that. But well, we'll be using them here just to distribute the items and have them kind of organized, kind of a visual way to find everything we have in here, everything we're gonna have relatively quickly. So yeah, so I think that's it for this episode. Oh, I happened to activate the thing when it closed. I was gonna go out. Okay, well, why not? Let's close the episode like this. So the house, or the initial house, it's completely done. I should be able to go to bed in a few moments. We are going to work a little on the details on the next episode and finish this. Well, basically place the cats and everything. Maybe I'll do all that off camera. And next episode we're going to work on the next project. I'll tell you what it is when we get there. Basically, when I open up in that episode. So thank you for watching. Matteo here, and see you in the next one, I guess. I'm gonna go to sleep here to say bye bye, I guess. So let's wait. And it opens. There you go. Yes. So again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.